Yo, what is up? Welcome to Ninja Geek Games. Are you a fan of one versus many games? If not, then we've already got off to a bad start. I quite like them where I can reminisce about Hero Quest and most other dungeon crawlers, but throw in some hidden movement mechanics and we start to see the likes of Fury of Dracula, Lifeform and Sniper Elite. Beast from Studio Midhall includes all this, but is there anything here that separates this game from its distant cousins, or are we on the hunt for a good game? In Beast, one player takes on the role of an enraged monster that has an insatiable appetite for villagers and nobles, whilst 2 to 3 other players form a party of expert hunters tasked with tracking down and killing the beast. The game is played over a series of rounds dictated by the contract that you choose. These provide information on the board map, specific objectives and the winning conditions. There are a number of beasts to choose from that include a giant frog and direwolves, and these all have unique abilities and upgrades. The combination of hunters used will likely change with each play, and they're skilled in a particular profession, whether they're specialists in traps, foresight or weaponry. The game boasts drafting and hand management, teamwork and bluffing, where each round culminates in the possibility of upgrading your character. If the hunters are able to defeat the beast or prevent it from eating the locals, then they collectively win. But fail and allow the beast to chow down, then the monster player claims the victory. Let's take a look. This is the map board that represents one of 2 locations in the game. They're covered with various terrain types, all linked with paths, and there are a couple of villages as well. Most of the terrain has wildlife to include sheep, boars and bears, and the villages will have one of 2 types of settlers. Here we have a brief summary of the phases in a round, and on the other side of the board is where the beast places their movement cards. During the game, whether beast or hunter, your character will move around the board trying to complete their objectives. This board is actually double-sided, and the location you choose is indicated on the contract that you select at setup. These are the contracts that you'll select at setup, and they're also double-sided, so you'll get 4. And here we have all the beasts available where the monster player chooses which one they want to play as. There's a bit of lore on the contracts and they tell you which side of the board that you'll play on, as well as any additional setup requirements. These could be upgrades or resources, and they generally favour the beast, and each contract also shows the game winning condition. They all require the beast to eat a different number of settlers and for the hunters to take down the beast, so there's not much difference between the game objectives regardless of which contract you choose, and this area will show the end of round bonuses that everyone can claim if you meet the requirements. As for the beasts, they have a favoured terrain type and health, and a number of upgrades that can be earned. This is the summons area, which are like minions that can spawn onto the map that have special abilities, and these are the ability cards that are always available to the beast. The hunter boards are fairly simple, showing their health, the available upgrades and their cost, and their starting ability, which is actually a card in hand. For example, the Trapmaster can look at items from the market area, the Seer can look at the beast movement cards, and the Watcher is able to build towers to make it easier to track the beast. First up, the components are great. I quite like the artwork, it's dark and foreboding, and the dual-laid player boards are awesome and of good quality. The map appears busy, but does look great on the table and has this foil-like appearance which is pretty cool. As we'll see, both beasts and hunters are represented by standees, which is okay, although you can get some really nice looking acrylic components, but I don't have these. I'll go over gameplay shortly, but the first thing you may notice is there's not much variability in the winning conditions regardless of which contract you choose. Instead, this comes from a combination of beast and party of hunters, and to some extent the setup changes that some players may not be entirely thrilled with. Each contract also indicates the number of players that can take part in the game, so here you are limited on which you want to play with. 2 are only available at the 4-player count, with the other 2 only coming into play with less. You can get around this at the lower player count if 1 or more players are willing to control an extra hunter, where this then allows you to use the larger map area. Each round starts with card drafting, where players then take turns playing 1 or 2 cards from hands to take actions. These include moving, attacking, gaining talents and items, where the game promotes a great deal of table talk, which I really like. At the end of the round, you could gain a sneaky bonus if you've met particular requirements, and then have a chance to upgrade with some powerful abilities. The beast player will need to use cunning to keep hidden until the right moment, where the hunters are required to use their skills to corner and force the beast into making mistakes. Card drafting is very similar to any other game that uses this mechanic. You select a card from hand and then pass the remaining cards to the next player, where you then receive a new set. Each of the cards is split into two sections, with the top action being specific to the hunter and the bottom for the beast. Now, on top of these drafted cards, each hunter will have their own set of ability cards that are added to their hand. Two of these are the same for every single hunter, allowing them to move and attack, with the third being specific to that hunter only. Similarly, each beast has ability cards that are also added to their hand, but these are generally specific to the beast, except the summons card that allows them to spawn and activate their minions. I'm not going to discuss every single action on a card, but we'll go over the functions of action selection, movement and attacking. Regardless of whose turn it is, each player can only play up to 2 cards selecting the action specific to that character, where beasts must use the bottom action. Each card will have a blue or a red icon, and at most you can only play 1 card of each colour. When the beast moves, it doesn't move the standee on the main board. Instead, this standee represents the last known location of the monster, as it may have moved since its last sighting. To represent this, the beast player selects a number of movement cards equal to the move value that shows the direction the beast wishes to move. These movement cards are stored face down on the main board, and the actual location of the beast is marked secretly on the minimap. This means the hunters don't know the exact location of where the beast went, but do know the approximate distance based on the number of cards drawn. Therefore, they can make only an educated guess. If during a hunter's turn they step onto any location where the beast has been, the beast player then marks that terrain with a trail token. This means, if clever, the hunters can gradually narrow down the location of the beast. For those players not familiar with hidden movement games, here only the beast knows its true location. Every time they take an action to move, they choose and draw movement cards and then relocate their position on the hidden minimap. But when hunters cross the path taken by the beast at any point, this is marked, and there are some hunter actions that allow you to take advantage of this, like moving an extra step. Collectively, hunters will be trying to narrow down the beast's location, while the beast will be trying to throw them off the scent with clever moves. Now, whilst distance moved can be estimated by the hunters based on the number of movement cards drawn, the beast can select some cards to indicate no movement has taken place. Therefore, if 5 cards are in the movement area of the main board, only 3 of these may indicate a beast move, which makes it tricky to pinpoint the location accurately. Ultimately, the beast will want to move from place to place to reach the settlers and attack them. When attacking, the beast will need to reveal itself, and it automatically deals damage to its target. Ideally, the beast will want to be attacking wildlife and hunters on their way, as these provide grudge tokens, and I'll discuss what these do later. Once revealed, all trail tokens and movement cards are discarded, and the new last sighting restarts at the beast's current location. The beast can play summons, which are minions and small creatures. These are like extensions to the beasts that are always revealed, and they can move around the map and attack settlers, wildlife and hunters. As mentioned, the hunters will gradually pinpoint the location of the beast by forcing the beast player to place trail tokens. If they've done enough, the hunters can look to search their location. If correct, the beast pops into play and takes damage when attacked. Again, this resets the trail tokens and allows the hunters to prep for the beast's next disappearance. Some hunters can build towers that reveal all adjacent trail tokens, and this can save a bit of time when tracking. Some actions allow you to claim special items from a market area, and these include traps that can be set in certain sections of the map. The hunter selects a terrain token and secretly hides it underneath the trap card. If the beast is revealed by any means in a location matching the trap's terrain piece, then it activates immediately, which is pretty cool. Instead, the beast has talents it can claim that can change the terrain type to make it easier to play summons or provide more powerful actions than the standard ones. Most of these specialist cards, whether talents or items, have a grudge cost that needs to be paid. Grudge can be gained by attacking each other or provided by certain cards, and as well as paying for cards, they can be used to upgrade your character. At the end of a round, each player can spend grudge to upgrade an area on their player board. These are marked with a token that could be ongoing or immediate abilities. They can boost certain actions like increasing attack damage or provide more unique benefits specific to the character. Here, grudge can also be gained by meeting the contract requirements. For example, if the beast is able to eat a number of animals or settlers, it will gain grudges or rewards to increase its attack damage. The hunter generally gets grudges here if the settlers are safe or they find a way to damage the beast. I quite like the beast activation and hidden movement mechanic. Using cards to dictate movement but not revealing them to other players can provide a nice decoy if you cleverly use the non-movement cards, although this may keep you closer to the hunters than you want. Most of the wildlife and settlers have more than 1 health, meaning the beast must attack a single unit a number of times, and this health will reset at the end of the round. A round ends when all players pass, which is usually when they have no cards left in hand, and this means the beast has to reveal itself more often to attack. It's risk versus reward, but you could have a number of actions before you disappear again, so the beast must plan ahead or get caught short. This can be prevented by only playing one card per turn until needed, as other players may then have diminished hands, meaning you can combo some really cool turns, but it's rare and at times you could also find yourself vulnerable in that position. But as the beast, you must attack. The majority of grudge tokens comes from combat, so you need to do this often, but it leaves you exposed. Damage is automatic and very basic. There's no die roll or card play here, you simply hit the target for the damage your character deals, although some items can prevent or increase this. Grudge can also be gained from contracts by meeting the end of round requirements. As mentioned, these are generally provided by the beast eating stuff and the hunters protecting stuff. What irked me here is whichever side you're on, these are your game winning objectives anyway, so if you're basically doing what you're supposed to do to win the game, then you'll get grudges to spend. Some powerful abilities cost grudges, and as they're required for upgrades, you'll need to find ways to hoard these. As the hunter, it's quite rewarding to come across the beast trail and follow it to fruition. You can build watchtowers to help you locate them and take bonus actions for guessing the correct route, and I quite enjoyed setting the traps. They don't always pay off, but setting and releasing an active trap is good fun, although the beast will know which section of the board it's housed in. The beasts all have different sets of summons to spawn. These can explode to deal damage, move great distances, and also draw in hunters and wildlife for the kill. The game ends if hunters defeat the beast, but for the hunters, there's no player elimination. Instead, any defeated hunters respawn at the end of the round, which is okay, so the beast only gets a short opportunity of relief from being tracked. I'd say that there are not too many action cards to draft, 16 in total. This doesn't create a great deal of variability, and if you're unlucky, you can end up with little to do on a turn, either because the action's available or you've taken too many cards of the wrong colour, which is frustrating. This can sometimes feel a bit repetitive and stagnant, where you must then look to your hunter or beast specific cards and those from the market to save the turn. This brings me onto the contract, where all the winning conditions are similar throughout, with the only variability being quantity. One contract does move settlers around the board that must reach a certain location to win, which is better, but you don't actually have too many rounds in the game, 3 or 4, and they can come around quite quickly. On that note, at times the game can just suddenly end. The beast reveals, deals a load of damage due to upgrade and gain power tokens, where the game is over, which is anticlimactic. On the other hand, games can also be very close with lots of chatting and great teamwork and excitement, so it can be hit and miss at times. The rulebook is a bit of a mess, being disjointed and unclear, but Studio Midhall have got an updated version available at Board Game Geek that I suggest you go to from the start. Now, aside from these problems, I did enjoy Beast. These issues I've highlighted don't overshadow a good game, they were just a slight disappointment to a game that I was really looking forward to. On my first play, I thought, no way, I'm not looking forward to playing that game again, but it does get better with time. I think this is because the game has a steep learning curve regardless of which side you're on, and you don't have that many turns over the course of a game. I still prefer games like Sniper Elite and Lifeform over Beast, but I would still play if offered. I like the theme and artwork, and it's great fun to play as the beast if you can get the most out of your minions and watch the hunters go around in circles. I also understand there are some fan-made scenarios available, and I'll certainly be hunting those down. I'll finish with saying that if you're about to play this game for the first time, give it a chance. It's not as deep as I initially thought, and you do need to warm up to it, but it does become enjoyable. Thanks for watching. This is Ninja Geek Games. Cheers.